Today on Slipping Time, more taking apart the 1989 Lotus Esprit Turbo body. Hello, and thanks for slipping some time with me. This is a 1989 Lotus Esprit Turbo. Well, it's kind of separated as you can see. For those of you who've been following along, you know exactly why it is in the shape it's in and why we're at this point. In this episode, I'm going to continue on removing some body components, some interior components. I thought in the last episode I would have had time to take all that out and be done with it and have it ready for paint. But just like everything, you underestimate the time it's going to take on any project, and I've got a bit more to do, and I'm going to take you through that. I also want to ask you some more questions. I have in the other episodes as well in the past, but I do want to, it's not just opinions, but I do want to hear from anybody out there that might have some answers for some of the original way things were done in this car, and I'll point out exactly what I'm asking as we go along. So come on, let's go. So you might be wondering what exactly is left. Well, I do need to clean up a few things. Obviously I got some mess in there. This wiring harness, I want to pull it out. It kind of goes through up in the fender here and down in here, and it comes out somewhere under here, and we've got to take some of that out. I want to take some of this out. I don't like this overspray in there, even though you hardly see it, but I just want to clean that up as well. So something I'm interested in knowing, for those that you know a lot about the factory stuff and how things were assembled and put together, including painting, or if you have something that's completely original, you can look at it maybe for us and let us know what you see. And what I'm curious about is these bolts here, they have a bracket behind. It's a brace, it's a support structure, and I'll show you that in a second. But they're painted over on this car. Now this is a repaint, so I know they definitely were painted then, but were they painted originally? So my question really is, were these bolts put in first before paint at the factory? I'm not used to seeing that in any car because I'm used to metal fabrication, which there's not a lot of flex. I was thinking maybe they were, because that way you don't crack the paint, because the fiberglass can flex when you torque up the bolts. And then if you do a paint and then you tighten it up and torque it up, then you get cracks in the paint. Now if it's thin paint, and the newer paints have some more flex than definitely what this would be, but I do know just fiberglass flexing itself can actually cause cracking, and you can see it in some of this car as well right now. So I really want to know from anybody out there that knows the way things were done in the factory, or again has a factory original car that hasn't painted, if they're just raw bolts and you see them after and they're putting on after, or they should be torqued up first and put in and then painted. Now along the same lines is this side skirt, and there's a few other items like that. There's these rivets that have been kind of painted over. I think they were sanded a bit too, which I don't agree with, but then everything was painted over. Was that done after? And of course it would look nicer not showing pop rivets here, and I haven't put the gasket on here for the sealer, the door seal on here, to see if it's even covered up anyway, and maybe it is, so that'll answer my question. But I'd like to do this right, which is right to me in any car is you take all the parts off, you paint them separately, and then you assemble them. Or were these assembled and then it was painted, which to me is not a great job, because you can't get it on the crevices and you get paint buildup in layers like I'm showing here. So let me know what you know out there, or have some original stuff out there to show. I want to know so I can do it the same way, and I don't want to have to worry about cracking my paint after the fact. I know I can be careful, I can put rubber gaskets in, etc., but I just want to know. Thanks. Another delicate procedure here, probably one of the most delicate because I don't want to hurt it. This factory plate here with the VIN number on it, I do not want to hurt it, but I got to remove it. So I'm going to drill very carefully on that. More pop rivets. You can tell I don't get too aggressive on here because It is just aluminum, guys, and it wouldn't take much to drill too big of a hole or to veer off, etc. So I'm trying to do a lot of control on it right now. Parking brake. I gotta remove these too. There. Nice plate to have. These door catches, they're attached to the brace in the back that I need to take off, that these bolts are on as well. I need to take them off to paint anyway, but that's why I'm doing this. And they were really loose. Loosey goosey. Interesting what they do is I see they have a screen mesh here tied to it. I didn't realize that. Backing plate and a screen mesh goes on here. They had those on here too where the doors actually mount. What I do notice, this is an insert into the fiberglass, similar to the body bolts that go to the frame or chassis. So I think that answers one of the questions, that probably this bolt was put in after. They just, for whatever reason, decided not to take it out and repaint it. That's my speculation, and that's what I'm going with, unless I hear otherwise from you guys, which I'm hoping to do. Some thick-ass paint here, guys. Holy crap. I don't know if you can see that or not, if it focuses. It's a very tough coat, but it's very rigid, which is prone to cracking, as I can see in here. So when I look under here, it looks like I see primer, but I do see a bit of, and I'm pretty sure this originally was black, this car, when I look at it, because that would be the first color on it. I can see primer here and a little black. And if I look under the washer, I can see really no paint under here at all for the remainder black. So I'm starting to think that these were put on first, maybe with a primer, and then put on, and then the paint. I'm not entirely sure though, and that's why I'm asking. I don't have an answer yet on what I'm going to do about this gas filler. I'll show you back here a little bit, but because of the way they filled this in, and to get it right, it's going to be a heck of a lot of work. And is it worth it? Maybe, if I'm trying to go all original, which I don't know yet on that part either. I guess I got to decide that. The minimum I'm going to do is replace this with something that does. I don't really like the bolt showing, for sure. Now to have it look a little bit by like the S1s, S2s do, they didn't have that door flap, maybe that's okay. You know, it's okay to have it kind of that look, but I still don't know. I am going to keep working towards what I'm going to do as I think about it. But stay tuned, I'll tell you what I'm thinking of doing with the rear, but first I got to remove a few pieces around this area, and then we'll get on to that. Well, I think that's going to be it for all the wrenching on this episode for this week. I got, I think, probably all of the body components off. There's a couple little things left. One thing I haven't decided yet is if I'm going to take out the evaporator and do a refrigerant conversion on it to the new stuff. I've been holding off on that, but to paint it, I think I got to remove the condenser, the air dryer, and the AC pump and the lines just to make it a little easier that's all that's left really on the body to make it a lot easier to do the paint on. I still want some feedback on whether I should remove these side skirts or not, or leave them in for paint. Let me know on that. Now you did see on what's going on here, huh? Let me take you in for a closer look on that. Now you notice that I took this off. This is the flap, not stock obviously. You can see what they did here. This is a 6.5 inch round that they put in to put this in, and it just sits in there. I don't know what the stock one looks like. I'm going to get someone maybe to send me or take some pictures of what this actually looks like and to see what it's going to take to put this back into factory. I am leaning on this one now after taking this off. I'm just worried about getting this right. And do I just paint this yellow? And I don't know, I still want to make yellow bolts or not, or do I do black? Black might be just black anodized bolts and stuff on there and be done with it. I know you can buy something that is flush here. It doesn't show any screws, and maybe put it in there. I'm not sure. I still have to, I don't know how they put these in because normally these go right through the holes here. But the fuel filler next, I got to take them out so we can paint in here anyway. But that's where I'm at on this. The back. Let's talk about the back. I know what I'm going to do with the back, and I really want to thank all of you for your suggestions and comments. I got more than I ever expected from the video with the amount of followers I have, so thank you so much. They're very sincere, great, constructive opinions, recommendations out there. Please keep them coming. I really like them. You not only gave an opinion, but you also backed it up with why, and thank you for that. That was great. Now, what I'm going to do on the back. So, and I'll show you a little more of the pieces I got that fit in here in a later episode. But I'm going to try and put this back into the 1989 stock look. I'm not going to do the V8, or let's put it this way. I'm going to try that. I've got nothing to lose by trying to carve this out. And if it works out, then great. I kind of like that look better than if I went with the round V8 look, later V8 look that they had, especially on this vintage of a car, and then it's back to stock. If I screw that up, maybe I'll still do that, if carving it out. But I'm gonna I think I can put this back to normal. Anyway, that's what I'm gonna try and do. If you look back here, you can actually see that it might be able to be carved out because you can see the indents, the cutouts still where they are. So it might just fall back out. I'm gonna find out. Well, there you have it. I now finally have the body pretty much stripped. I thought in the last episode I did, until I realized how much I had left when I got into it this week, and there was quite a bit to do, a lot of meticulous little things. I have parts everywhere right now. It's quite a mess in here. The interior is a mess. I got to clean that up, so some work on that as well. But I think it was a good week, and I do have to prep or take a few things off the door panels, the doors basically. And also on the rear lid here, I have to take some components off that. So we'll be doing some of that yet before we can send this off for painting. Obviously, I got to try and do the back like I mentioned earlier, but I'm looking forward to it. We're getting close to at least that point. I've got the chassis obviously to do with the engine and everything. There's a lot to do there. So there's no end to work. There's no end of detail that'll be going through this. So what this really is you can see a Lotus, how it's dissected, it goes apart and then goes back together and put back together. So it's going to be a long process, but I think maybe a lot of you might like to see it out there, just how a Lotus is made up for those of you that never have had the opportunity. And those that have a Lotus may want to see what's really inside their car and how it's put together if they've never ripped it apart. I have seen a lot of feedback from people that are restoring these right now. So I'm thinking that these are just at the point now where they're getting a lot of attention. There's not a lot around there, and their age, it means that they need restoring. So probably in, let's say, 3 to 5 years, there's going to be a lot of mint, clean, showroom condition Lotus Esprits out there because of all the builds that are going, all the restorations of doing that. So that's going to be cool to see them out there. I think now that sounds like they've been hiding a lot in garages, and they've been depleted and embarrassing to take out because they're not in prime condition compared to what they used to be and what people think of them. So people are going to get them done and do them right, and they're going to bring them out. So I can't wait to see all the Lotuses, hopefully in a couple years from that. Also, please, I encourage you to keep commenting on whatever you see. If something you notice, something I should think about, put it down there. I definitely want to hear from you, and I think others are getting some education about it as well in the comments, and like hearing this stuff as well. So keep getting engaged. It's a sense of community, obviously, this channel, and that's what I want to bring to it. With all that said, please enjoy every day and always make it right.